Good morning and welcome to the 10 a.m. daily weather brief. Starting us off, we'll begin by taking a look at this morning's upper level wind profile, where we can see that we do have a more so southerly component near the surface, and then we start to see a wind shift to a more west southwesterly direction aloft, with our wind speeds generally remaining light throughout much of the column, and that continues up until our upper levels, where we do see an observed max at 28 knots, coming in around 25,000 feet. And as for our freezing level today, that does sit around 13,700, almost 14,000 feet. Pulling up our most recent surface analysis chart here, we currently have a cold front moving through the Appalachian regions this morning, bringing only some slight changes to the area for this afternoon. And despite this front, we are expecting today to garnish what should be the warmest temperature of the upcoming forecast period, especially as our morning cloud cover has since diminished, and we're starting to see some light cumulus build in at the moment. Today we should remain generally dry, with only some isolated afternoon showers or storms possible from some sea breeze dynamics and some instability aloft. And then following today, our post-frontal conditions will begin to settle in and bring in some chillier overnight lows and continued dry weather. And then moving through the week, we'll then see a trough, that begins to dig in over the eastern United States on Tuesday through Wednesday, and that will combine with some high pressure building in from the plains to hopefully deliver some pleasant conditions and some notably cooler overnight temperatures. And that fall-like weather pattern should continue late next week as that trough begins to, or through next week as that trough remains in place and that surface high pressure begins to build in over the mid-Atlantic by Thursday. Following that, we'll see a couple of short waves and upper level disturbances rotating through our area and providing some reinforcing shots of what should be some cooler and drier air, and those dry conditions should then persist through at least Friday, with high pressure in control and keeping most of the significant moisture well to our south. Come Friday, we should see a weak, dry, cold front that potentially pushes through, and that would once again reinforce our cooler air for Saturday and keep highs below our seasonal average and our lows in the low 60s, and that pattern will likely continue into the early part of Labor Day weekend, with a slight chance of rain possible returning late in the weekend, although that does remain slightly uncertain at the moment. Pulling up our 24-hour risk chart for today, we had that early cloud cover that since diminished and is now starting to build in just a little bit in the form of some light cumulus out there. And then through the day, that should persist and build in slightly overnight, in which we'll see that cloud cover just increase. And then early tomorrow morning, we should see that cloud cover then once again start to diminish a little bit. As for our high for today, our high is looking to come in the mid 80s, and for our winds, they should generally remain light throughout the day, gusting up to 15 knots at times. And then for our rain chances, we'll see a very slight chance of an afternoon shower or a thunderstorm as we move through our working day today into the overnight hours. Moving on to the short-term risk chart. On Tuesday, we can anticipate partly to mostly cloudy conditions and a high of 80. Tuesday night, similarly, partly to more so mostly cloudy, with a very slight chance of a shower or a thunderstorm and a low of 64, and about the same on Wednesday, except in a turn for the better, mostly sunny conditions with, again, a slight chance of a morning shower and thunderstorm and a high of 78. And that brings us to our 7-day outlook here, in which today appears to be the warmest day of the upcoming week, and we can anticipate partly cloudy conditions throughout much of the day, and then clouds building in overnight to where we become partly to mostly cloudy. And Wednesday we get a break and appears to be more so sunny, and our temperatures slowly kind of waver around that upper 70s and maybe even cresting into the 80s for portions of the week, with Saturday another cool down and some slight rain chances throughout the week. But overall, not too bad on the front of our rain chances moving through the week, and we do have some chances for some sun as we progress. So that concludes the 7-day outlook, and I'll be back tomorrow at 8:15 with the daily weather operations brief.